I'm going to be talking to an amazing guy who's actually one of the locals here in Bukhara, and he's one of the co-founders of an IT school. He graduated at prestigious university, Florida University, International University, with a major in computer science.
I was able to get to University of the World Economy and Diplomacy for a scholarship, and I was there for a year actually.
And I always had this dream of like someone coming and turning Bukhara into the Silicon Valley of Uzbekistan.
And my dad said, "Hey, don't rush. If you don't go right now, it doesn't mean that's the end of the plan. Go proceed with diplomacy and just keep applying."
Were you certain you were going to get a visa, given the fact that it's hard to get a US visa?
I remember having like this stack of documents to show that to the counselor.
Why, I wonder, you would not stay in the US and intern and eventually land a job at one of those Silicon Valley companies?
It's not an exaggeration. I applied to around 2,000 jobs, positions. I got 2 offers, which I had to decline. You can ask a kid if they want an orange and apple, but you cannot ask them, hey, do you want to be an engineer or food blogger when they're 5? That's a decision that would entail a lot serious consequences, like be it positive, negative, I don't know, but consequences are a lot heavier to bear.
All right, so let's save some of it for the podcast. All right, so you tell us when to start. Hey folks, hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Astra Muse. I'm your host, Muhammad Ali. Today, I'm going to be talking to an amazing guy who's actually one of the locals here in Bukhara, and he is one of the co-founders of an IT school. He graduated at prestigious university in California, Florida University, International University, with a major in computer science. And I am honestly really excited to be talking to this guy. He's actually an old friend. We finally got to reconnect. We had a little bit of a chat before this podcast, and now we've finally get to talk to him more about his projects, his studies abroad, and just about everything. So if you guys are interested, please keep watching. All right, it's time to finally meet our guest, Mr. Jamsher. Hi.
Hey, how are you doing? Thanks for having me.
All right,
Thanks
thanks.
for your time.
It's great to have you on the podcast.
Yeah, good to be here.
Would you like to tell our audience a little about yourself?
Yeah, of course. Well, you mentioned the university that I studied, Florida International University. It's actually in Florida. Maybe was that a typo in my resume?
Not sure. It says CA. CA is California, isn't it?
Oh, okay. I should double check. That's
Yeah.
like, I drafted it the last minute to just update it. But yeah, the main occupation right now of mine is running this tech school, but I don't like calling it a school. It's a hub. At least that's the goal. For many reasons, I guess we can come back to them during this talk. Other than that, I also work as a full stack senior software engineer. So that's my second job occupation. That's gone crazy too. I work remotely, and the goal from this hub is to spread the awareness about IT and how fast it's growing, especially in Uzbekistan, and to do it specifically for this city, for Bukhara. Why? Because Bukhara has always been a center for education, be it English, be it mathematics, and I'm pretty sure there are very young, great minds in tech too. But I really wouldn't want them to be living for Tashkent, even Tashkent, let alone abroad. I'm all up for guys going abroad and having some experience, but if they come back, right, I would want them to be comfortable being in their hometown, because Bukhara has great potential. I just want that to be accomplished, and to help that happen, I would want to do what I can in my field. So that would be tech. So let's see how that goes.
Right. I really admire what you're doing here because, you see, when you look from the outside, Bukhara seems like a place where there's a lot of emphasis on teaching education. Like a lot of people in the city see a viable career in teaching, but not many people see a viable career in IT or science related majors, science related fields. And I always had this dream of like, not me obviously, since my major is not IT, but someone coming in, turning Bukhara into the Silicon Valley of Uzbekistan. Do you see that happening one day?
100%. Like that's what you just phrased, the way you just phrased, that's exactly how that goes in my head. It's not hard. Well, it would take a lot of time, but for that to happen, we don't need great big tech companies being founded here, because outsourcing is working, crazy good. And Uzbekistan, the entities like IT Park, that's their goal. They're investing like millions, like in dollars, to attract more and more tech companies to launch their branches, their locations here in Uzbekistan. Why? We're just trying to do what India did, Philippines did. They're still doing it, but the way like as time went by and the demand for them grew, their rates eventually went up, and they're not as cheap now. But we're not there yet, so it means we're still cheap. We do have great minds, and we do speak good English, right?
Yeah.
India, like I don't know. Well, I don't care for reasons, but they speak English from their childhood, right? Most of them, at least. But it's hard to understand them. You would think, well, the world got used to it. They did, but do they always feel comfortable? No, they have difficulties understanding. Communication still plays a great role. So we would still win, besides the efficiency and costs, right? By our literacy, communication, and language. So, and what I'm saying is, Tashkent has a lot of. So IT Park has managed to attract a lot of companies, like great amount, and there are a lot of vacancies, but most of them are in Tashkent. And local IT Park is also working. They have regions, like branches in all regions. They always try to bring some of the companies to regions, so specifically in Bukhara. But we don't have a couple of important factors. So be it that basic infrastructure, right? Places to rent, or just internet speed. You'd think so. Small things we should fix, just provide. Tashkent branch headquarters works great. We should emphasize on regions and Bukhara. Well, that's what they're trying to do in IT Park. So, from my own perspective, we should at least try to do it personally as well. So that's the goal. So to train some good cutters and promote them. Well, I started. We started in October. I still have my first initial batch of groups. Right. We still haven't finished our programs. So once they're done, once they graduate, my goal is to help them sit and prepare their resumes, prepare them for interviews, and let's get them jobs. Be it remote, be it in Tashkent. Initially, we don't care. Let's just train them, get them close to that community identity, like make them feel what's happening out there in tech. And then once they realize, hey, Bukharians do know what they're doing. So it's a long run thing, but it takes small steps to start with.
So, like, you see your hub as serving as a bridge between that IT world, the big IT world, and this small community here of young people who are interested, who are ready, prepared to jump on the IT bandwagon.
Correct.
That's so you're serving as that essential bridge that the city lacked. Now, can we provide a little more context on how this whole, school idea came about? You guys got established back in October 2024, right?
Yes.
2024. So like, who came up with the idea?
Oh, that's a good
From what I know, you have a partner, right? It's just
Two
you,
partners.
two partners.
Yes.
So
It's three of
how did
us.
you guys come up with the idea?
Um,
Oh,
it was a
and by the way, what's the name of your school?
Envision.
Envision.
Envision, yes.
Envision, right?
I think the name stands for itself.
Mm-hmm. What does it stand for? Envision. Is it engineering vision?
No, well, everything that I just described, so that's what we're trying to envision.
The Envision. Yes,
Yes.
yes. I thought it's made of two separate chunks, like N and Vision.
Oh, no.
Just one word. Yeah.
Yes.
Envision.
The verb, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what we're trying to
Mhm.
achieve. Initially, how that came up, actually, I came back even, it wasn't, I came back from the US in August,
Mhm.
so I was still back there. And Aksurat, his very close brother of mine, he's like, hey, so he works as a manager in Genius English courses, and with my mentor, like Farhad Kadirov, they had this space that that he owns, and it's like, hey, why don't we go with this idea?
Mhm.
Let's be pioneers,
Mhm.
but not in the sense that the first IT or tech academy or center or school. We already have them. I know three already existing working and were working before us, but let's do something of our own and let's contribute to this community. And I always thought there should be some platform, some space where I can share what I've learned, what I had learned, but even for that time as well. And he actually reached out to me first. He's like, when are you planning to come back?
Mhm.
And I wasn't sure about the date. And the launch of the school was the nudge for me to get a flight, get a ticket, and eventually that's how it happened. And we went for it. We came up with the name, logo. But the place was already totally furnished, not furnished, but constructed, made for me. Just came for everything that was ready. And now my job would be to run this place, to manage and make it work. It's been quite a challenge, and still a challenge. There are
Mhm.
a lot of things that's making me reconsider the model, the approach, because just like I said, I don't want this place to be a school, and that's actually the key point we were all aligned with. We don't want a school, like we don't want kursi, right?
Mhm.
IT course, Boraman. No. Um, yes, we do need those, but eventually for something bigger. So we're trying at the same time we're trying to partner with people, with companies, to have some slots, secure job slots for our students. So that would be one way our students would be pursuing, applying and getting actual jobs, like in companies. Another way would be to be involved, like actually employed in our own projects, like projects run at Envision. So be it a startup, be it a bigger project from a client. So that's a longer run plans, but that's what I want. And so what I realized, it takes a lot more just my thoughts, my plans, my ambition to make it happen. A reality check was when I actually started gaining students and looking at them and realizing what is going on in their head, why they're coming for these classes. What was did their parents tell them to attend just to not to waste the time,
Mhm.
just to get a skill that probably would or would not be useful in the future, or are they dying for knowledge? Because the format that I had in my head was something like a boot camp in West, like in the US. I think they have a lot of those in Europe too. Uh, is that they run their courses, like their boot camp, for 6 months. Sometimes it's even 3 months, and it's from zero till total, coverage of all the topics that you would need to start applying for jobs and at least getting your interviews for yourself. Like, no matter if you pass them or not, just getting interviews. So after that, you have everything. You don't get them in 6 months in depth, right? It's like those who say, "Oh, I can get you." I'm not in the loop that much, but I can get you 8 in IELTS in 3 months. I don't think that's possible. Like we studied IELTS back then too, but at least knowing the core, I don't think that's possible. So they say that, but they're not lying. So in 6 months you would get everything you do, but at what quality or depth? It's like on a surface level, but it's not hidden. It's not in the fine print. It's just, it depends on you. And those people who actually attend boot camps who are dying for jobs. They need the job right now. Or sometimes it's international students who need their sponsorship. So to get a sponsorship, they need a job, right? So someone who's in need, in urge, so that works for them. They do have their classes every day, like be it an hour or two, but after that they go home and search and research 4 hours more, right? And in 6 months, you never get a success rate of 50%. I don't think that's ever possible in any business or project. But those who actually work fail their 3 months of interviews, 2 months, maybe a year. But eventually, those interviews, so all that boot camp plus the interviews that have been failing, all that experience gained gets them a job. And that's a very, very fast way to be in tech, like in my scenario.
Mm-hmm.
So, but do we have those kind of people? That's what I'm still looking for.
Right. So what kind of, and before I ask you like what kind of students you teach at the moment, I'm curious to know like what kind of skills you have on offer. Like you guys teach coding, editing, and if coding, what kind of languages students learn?
It's strictly programming.
Mm-hmm.
Some people come to us and ask, "Hey, do you guys have SMM like editing?" No, we don't. It's all about tech. So if you ask me to define tech, I can spare an hour or two and tell you. But no, we don't have that. I have programs ready and prepared by myself for 4 different directions. So that would be front-end development, back-end development, data analytics, and cross-mobile development.
Okay.
And apart from that, we are also trying to, on the way of having a path for robotics for kids. We already got this crazy robots that work with colors, identify. They have like AI built in them. So I need a teacher for that. I'm looking for that person. Maybe I'm not sparing as much time to make that happen yet, but maybe I'm passively looking yet. It should turn into active, but that's the plan. So yeah, that would be 4 or 5 paths.
So I heard a few terminology. You use front end, back end. Like, can you break down a little what those things are, and like how you become a front end developer and how you become a back end developer, and what kind of jobs can you get with those skills?
So when I say path, so that's what I mean. So that's actually a job. When you go to where do people look for jobs in Uzbekistan? Like I know HHU's, LinkedIn, and a couple of good Telegram channels. You'd look for front-end developer. So that path, that expertise, let's call it, would include a lot of skills. So all those skills are provided in that program, and it's designed for, at least to my estimation, I should look at my current groups how they end up, but to my estimation that would be 14 months. 12 to 14 months, so a year. And that's the job title that we'll be looking for after graduating. But skills that are included what is front end? You open up a website, you open up a mobile app. whatever you see, whatever comes to your face, that's all front end. So everything visual, everything like all the text, all the paragraphs, all the headings, colors. Yeah, it's basic stuff. Well, it's basic in words, but it gets serious.
So what kind of coding languages would a person would have to learn to become a front-end developer, to design websites or web pages?
That's a good question. Well, web development is one of the few areas where you have just one language that would work for you. So for front end, that would be JavaScript. But apart from that's a programming language. But what you start with is HTML, CSS. So that's basically the foundation, and the actual programming language adds up. That would be JavaScript in case of front end development. But within that year, I tell them before they start the course, that language or that path is just a small example that we'll be basing our learning on. So that means once you're done with the course, any other area like field, so you started with front end, but that was just a nudge for you to get into tech. But after you're done with that, and provided that you actually studied properly, spared a good amount of time on that, you want to move to data analytics, you'd be able to. You want to move to AI, you can go for it. Why? Because we're not in our hub, we're not giving something extra or new that is not already on internet, right? We're not giving more than whatever already exists. My goal from teaching is to explain them the core, like the foundation of CS. So that would be computer science. And once you know the fundamentals, hey, I'm comfortable with my computer. I'm comfortable with coding. I know the concepts of computer science. So I can now open up a menu. So, I want to go to game dev. Yeah, I can go. So there, the language that I'd be using would be C++ or C. Was it? Yeah, I could be mistaken, and you can, because you already know the concept. So whatever path you choose, I'll definitely, with the example of that given language, explain to you, teach you, educate you, or direct you the fundamentals, the algorithms, the data structures, which is relevant in any CS field. Like that's the core, that's the foundations. So that's my goal. So I guess that's what I've been trying to stand out with, because if you want, you can build a website in a week. Like no problem. You wouldn't need much coding, right? There are a lot of platform services that makes it easy. Even with that ChatGPT is not replacing developers, but if you want a simple website, if you just keep prompting that ChatGPT forever, eventually you'll get the product, but would you know what is actually happening in there? No. Would you be able to debug if something comes up? No. Something in that. So
Yeah. So your goal is to provide foundational knowledge, and then students can build any skill stack on top of it.
yeah.
If they wish to become a back-end developer, they can go there. If they want to become a hardcore programmer, they can try that as well.
Yeah.
Right. So what kind of students are you teaching? Like, what is your target audience at the moment?
That's
You seem not to be happy with your students at the moment when you compared students here with students abroad who sign up for boot camps.
Well, it's not about. I am happy with them. It's just I need. So I need to refine the model that we're sticking to right now to make it work, because I cannot just go there and cancel out the fact that some kids are struggling. Because reality check was when I came here and started. So that was one thing. Like, okay, this is very different from what I imagined. And then recently, I met with this guy who have been managing a lot of tech projects, like in Uzum. As far as I know, I could be mistaken, in Uzum and Click. And he has experience being in tech. He's not a programmer or coder. He's a project manager. And I lashed out, brought all of my struggles out to him. It's like, hey, this is not a skill issue. This is like running, skill issue, not a tech skill issue. So help me out here. What do you suggest? And he's like, hey, so tell me this. He's asking me, tell me this. How long did it take you to be where you are right now? Like, 4 or 5 years. So how can you expect those kids to be that in a month, in a year? So you need to, calm down a bit. You cannot just make them be that way. So come down to their level. They're new. They're new to this whole thing. So he had a couple of good suggestions. So I'm working with those suggestions as well. That's what I mean by refining model. So I'm not planning to, let all my students go. And I have really good students. Just like I said, there are few of them, and it's never most of them in any other area as well. So we're trying, and I have bigger plans on them once they're done. But to make it efficient, not only for myself, but for the kids as well, for the students as well. Because when they struggle, sometimes I catch that, catch myself on that too. When they're struggling, I'm like up there, like trying, having this illusion that they should be up there as well to get me. No, they can't, right? So that's my problem as well. So it's working both ways.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it's work in progress.
Right. So it seems to me what you're describing is that you did not come to terms with the fact that teaching probably is not what you expected. Like obviously it was your initial teaching experience, and you probably expected students to act as adults and be responsible and quick to grasp, quick to learn. But as someone who's been involved in teaching, the point they made is really good. When you're working with students, you really got to learn to dumb things down a little, right? And I had the same problem where I'd get frustrated when a student wouldn't get a point right away, but they're just being a student. We were there ourselves at some point. Like one of the things about being a teacher, regardless of what field domain you're in, is that you really have to be understanding and patient and really let things take their time, right? That's something I can see you had trouble wrapping your head around, but now you seem to understand that. Yeah, especially with IT, which is something that is yet to take off in this city. Yeah. It's not like English or math that have been around for a very, very long time. We got a lot of experience doing this, but with IT, it's a totally new ball game, right? So it's clear that you were running into all these problems, but at the same time, I really want to give you credit for taking up on all these challenges. A lot of people would not dare taking on. So
yeah, it's quite a path, quite a time. I mean, if I try to recall the first initial classes I had, I can see that there's already a huge progress. So, but there's a lot bigger room for development as well. So let's take our time.
Right. And so your future goal at the moment is to get your students set up in IT and help them get projects, right?
Yes.
Eventually, right?
But the ultimate goal is to raise awareness here in Bukhara.
Right.
Our community. I don't want them to come to my hub to learn. I want them to join in this bigger ultimate goal that, hey, just like you said, let's make Bukhara a center not only for English, not only for math, but for tech too. We can do it 100%. I just want them to know, to be aware. That thing doesn't involve their kids or themselves attending my hub or hub. No, that would be because, and after that, though now those who are attending, who are coming to our classes, will have a totally different motivation approach. Like now they'll be more mature. Hey, it's all around me. I need to take it serious. It's not just a side skill, side hustle.
All right, clear. Would you be comfortable talking a little about your background as well? I was actually really hoping that we would start off with the background part where you would talk about, your early days in your in high school, and then you applying to colleges and universities, and that's what a lot of our audience are here for. They want to find out more about like how to get into top universities abroad. So how about we talk about it a little, and then we'll go back to
Sure, no
we'll come
problem.
back to our conversation about your school. So you went to a public high school here in Bukhara, right?
Yes.
So you must have started off with IELTS, just like everyone else,
Yeah.
right? Would you like to talk about your university admission preparation as well? Your IELTS, SAT preparation, if you've done the SATs.
Yeah, I did.
Do tell us about that.
It was a good old times. I attended school number 2 here. They moved their location nearby. Then I went to Lyceum at Bukhara Institute of Technology. And after that, I actually, because of the Olympiads, I was able to get to University of the World Economy and Diplomacy for a scholarship, and I was there for a year actually. And back then, it was not 100% a plan to leave, but I had that dream, you might say, when I was in Lyceum, and I did get to a couple of universities, like after the year I graduated from Lyceum, but I think there were a couple of factors. I was not fully satisfied with the level of the university that I got in, and I think we had slight financial problems at home. So it was a mix of both. And my dad said, "Hey, don't rush. If you don't go right now, it doesn't mean that's the end of the plan. Go proceed with diplomacy, and just keep applying." And I loved that advice. Like I would never revert that. And it was very wise and smart from my dad. And yeah, I had a year in Tashkent and University of Diplomacy. But while I was there, because you know how you would need to prepare a year before the actual academic year starts. So I think it was in November, the admission deadlines for Florida International University. I started because it was a scholarship deadline as well. That's why it was too early. And I was preparing. I sent them, of course, last minute, last day, as a quite a process. And I did so for their scholarship requirement was to have SATs. And when did I have my? I think I had my SATs a year before my application, and I prepared for SATs on my own for a month. I was not expecting the score that I got, but I think I got 1340. And my plan was, hey, it's this English is not IELTS. This is English apparently, because later I realized IELTS is more like about, hey, if I speak English to you, do you understand it? Okay, so that's what your IELTS tells me, but SAT tells me a totally different story, right? I realized that when I was preparing. And the plan was, hey, I'm going to ace my math because math there is very easy. because I attended, my tutor's classes on math as well, and just hoped that my English would be like the higher the highest possible, the highest that I can get. It was the other way around. I think I got 690 on my English, and I'm ashamed to say it was 650 on math, but that got me 75% scholarship to my university that I was applying. But with IELTS, it was so IELTS thing. This whole IELTS thing was during Lyceum. I think I passed my test on the second year of my studies, Lyceum. I got 7.5, and the day I got the results, I'm like, I think I was very close to crying. It's very funny, but yeah, I'm reapplying. I'm passing it again. This is not the score that I deserve, that I want. I went home. I told my dad. He's like, fine, do whatever you want. I went. I had a good night's sleep. The next morning, yeah, I'm not doing that. That's enough for me. Why would I want to spend again more time, more energy on something that wouldn't matter much, not even a little, in the long run? So I gave up on the idea of retaking it. Yeah, 'cause it would,
Right. And you said you spent your first year in Uzbekistan going to a public university here, World Economy and Diplomacy,
Yeah.
right? So, like, when did you get? Why did you decide to go to university, Florida International University? Like,
Oh.
of all the universities you could have gone to.
Well, I applied to. No, I didn't apply to a lot. I did apply to Florida International. I think I applied to Virginia International. And so back then, it's when we're young. I don't know. I think it's very different right now. Kids are a lot smarter. They're better at browsing, working with internet, browsing sites, and finding information. But back then, it was almost like something impossible. But I still went for it. I would go to. It was a template thing. Go to a website of the university, find the admissions tab, or go to undergraduate and go to international students and look for the requirements, the dates, and scholarships. And you probably know this already. Most universities, they're like, hey, you apply and we'll see how much we can give you as a scholarship, like merit based or sometimes need based. I didn't care back then. But international, Florida International, FIU, let's call it FIU. I mean, that's actually how they call it. So FIU they printed outright, hey, if you have 4-point GPA, and so what was the minimum for 75%? So I think they had 1,300 SATs, you get 75%. And if you have 4-point GPA and then 1,390, you get 100% scholarship. And of course, you have personal statement letters, recommendation letters, all that, standard stuff. And yeah, I applied for it, and I got my results on my admission. Well, I got my results on admission right away, almost instantly. On scholarship, I got them. So if I applied in November, I got them in February. So it was a good feeling that while I was studying in where I was studying in Tashkent, it was a good feeling that knowing that that by the end of this academic year, I would be leaving, hopefully.
Oh, were you certain you were gonna get a visa? No, given the fact that it's hard to get a U.S. visa.
That's true. You got me there. I was very happy, but visa thing was even a bigger challenge than admission. I don't know how realistic it is, but that's all I thought about. And you can't apply for it way beforehand, right? You need to wait like till July, June, and I'm like, when I'm gonna do when is that time coming? When am I gonna apply for that? Yeah, eventually it did happen. I prepare. I think I remember having like this stack of documents to show to counselor. He didn't look for them at all. I can try to recall the questions he asked me. Oh no! By the way, no, it was a good talk. So, you know how they issue I-20 document when you're admitted, right? And when you get a scholarship, your I-20 should mention that, like funds or sponsorship by university. And on my I-20, it was blank. I knew that, like I noticed that the day I got it, like, oh, okay, I guess that's how it works. I didn't care much. And I took it to embassy. I'm there standing in front of the counselor, and I gave that to him. It's like, so I started talking, and it was with initiative. I started talking about my scholarship. It's like, hey, it doesn't say that you have a scholarship. How can you prove? I did have letters though, so they were good with that thing. It took them, not them, but it took ages for me for the physical letter to arrive. I think they sent with FedEx. But back then, our postal service was not that great. Right now, it works well, I think. So I did have 2 physical copies talking about scholarship, but the different information. So I had those, but it's still suspicious, right? And I gave to the counselor those 2 letters, and I started explaining myself. Hey, I did reach out to university. I did mention the part where I-20 is missing my scholarship details, but what they told me is to hand you these letters, and that will be fine. I said, okay. He put down the curtain. He called someone. I could see it, and they started discussing. I'm like, oh my god, this is done. He came back to me after like a minute or 2 of talk, like, yeah, your visa is approved. Just leave your passport and come back in whatever day. That's a good experience.
Yeah.
But this whole thing happens within the span of 5 minutes, 6 minutes, but it feels like ages.
Or you must have felt a sigh of relief at that moment.
Yes.
When you heard you're getting your visa approved.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of guys who get into big universities like Harvard, Brown, but they're still holding their breath because they're worried they're not getting a visa, especially now that there is new administration.
Yeah.
With tighter regulations on immigrations.
It's just
and
not
immigration.
about immigration. Crazy things. What happened to that guy who got into Harvard? What is he doing?
I haven't reached out to him. I don't want to. Probably he's already getting text messages left and right from everyone wondering if he's going to Harvard ever, right? But yeah, I don't really know. I think I should probably check on that guy. He did come on the podcast. I know actually a couple of other guys who got into Harvard. I reached out to them asking them if they would like to come on the podcast, but for some reason they told me they want to keep it low profile, so they're not coming. But I'm really worried about all those guys. I really am. Yeah.
So there's more than one from Uzbekistan.
Oh, it turns out there's a lot. There's like 3 or 4 guys who got into Harvard from Uzbekistan. There's a guy who got into MIT. There's a lady who got into Brown. Yeah.
Masters or some program at MIT would be one day. That's.
Oh, there's a guy who got into undergraduate program from Uzbekistan. I reached out to him asking him if he'd come on the podcast. He did go on one podcast in Uzbekistan. That was an Uzbek podcast, but for some reason he declined my offer. Right. I guess he just wants to keep a low profile.
Okay.
Yeah, some of these guys don't like the spotlight.
Fair.
Because they probably, I don't know if it's for, I don't. Maybe they just don't want to get ahead of themselves. Like getting into Harvard doesn't mean you're already accomplished or all successful, right? You got a whole marathon to run ahead of you, right?
True. That's true. Well, I understand them. That's kind of our mentality. It has its pros and cons.
So you decided to study computer science at university, right? What led you to make that decision ultimately? Like, why did you want to pursue, of all the majors out there? Because, like, thinking about your initial university experience, you were studying at World Economy and Diplomacy University in Tashkent. What was your major at the time?
International relations.
So you went from social studies to studying a science subject, computer science. Like, why did you make that switch?
Well, I would want to tell you an interesting or intriguing story about that, but there's no story. Um, I didn't even have kind of a programming project that I did before that, or an experience. No, I was good with computers. Like, for some reason, it's like when you tell our people that you're an IT guy that ask you to fix the bulb, fix the plug, right? I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah.
okay, I'll go ahead and do it, but that's not. I can do it not because I know IT, right? So I was good with computers. I just like you mentioned, I did a lot of editing back then. What else? I knew how to use just computers, just regular stuff. But it turns out not everyone would be interested. So we had this informatics. Would that be a good translation? But class in and at university too. So everyone could come to me. So that's basically what I had back then. But why computer science? Why tech? So what I realized, I'm not great with humanities, right? It's not really exact. So, and I feel better when something is precise, like math, like your result. It would not be depending on a view of some politician, right? So something like that. And I guess just feeling and knowing that it has future, that Uzbekistan is not does not have that area developed yet. Back then, it was even more raw. So something that just I don't know if there would be anyone who would who you would ask how they came up with their major they chose. I don't think anyone would have a great precise story. So mine would be that I'm like, it's a good area. It's a good major. It's not humanities, and it does have a potential. We know we all know about .com boom, right? And it's only growing, evolving, and everyone would tell you the future will be related with all of it would be related with tech, integrated with tech. Any other area, medicine, it does have tech in it. Finance, it does have tech in it. Biology, whatever walk of life you'd mention. So, like, yeah, I would not be left out. Like, I would not be left unemployed. I guess.
How did you feel taking computer science classes at university abroad? Like, what was it like? The experience, like going to lectures, doing workshops, and or your first line of code, like your first time ever you're writing a code. Like, how did it all go?
Your first code is hello world.
Uh-huh.
It's always that one. But ooh, it take me a bit, to get used to and to this new system of education. Even before even before you talk about tech, like computer science, it took me a while to get used to this whole college life. That was very different, and I was very lucky to be at university that has a huge campus, because later on I realized if you go to bigger cities, well, I was in Miami, right? But at like out of further, our location was away from the downtown, so it meant more space, open space, nature, and that stuff, and that's what you want. And later on, I saw like big cities having their universities. They're like packed and cramped in high rise buildings. Doesn't make you feel like a student having a student life. And yeah, like more open, more liberal type of classes. Yeah, I used to be shy and withheld myself a lot of times. I felt like my opinion would be far inferior to others around me. But having a couple of classes, maybe a couple of months, I realized these guys are talking nonsense. But the idea, not nonsense, but the fact that they're not scared of their opinion, uh, realizing that's actually how you learn. You speak out, you express your mind. If you're wrong, then you're wrong. That's how you learn. So that's what it taught me. I don't think university abroad would give you a better skill, well, a better hard skill. programming, you can do it at home right now. If you have internet, I guarantee you 100%, I can direct you with all the resources to take step by step. You'd be a great programmer.
And you can also be a great editor, right?
Yeah.
You can self teach. You hear
100%.
that, Mr. Abdul Malik? You don't have to go to a top university college to become the best editor in the world.
100%. So an argument whether you need a diploma, a bachelor's, would not be like to go for it would not be, hey, you would have skills. No, you'd learn how to socialize, how to network, how to approach people, how to express your mind, how to be in tough situations and handle them. To get what you want, sometimes it takes a bit more just applying with your resume to get a job. You need to, struggle. You need to go and feel embarrassed in front of someone. And yeah, that's what that whole environment teaches you. At least I was lucky that my university did provide. My university was not great with CS, by the way. Well, like I as I progressed, I know I was fresh. I didn't have any experience. So initial classes were like, oh, this is amazing. I'm coding. I'm having my results. But later on, as you get deeper into the field, you realize, hey, my university is kind of lagging behind with their program. It's not updated. So it's a lot of self-learning eventually. So I always tell my students, hey, whatever I learned, it's like 70% I learned myself and 30% my university. But without those 30, I wouldn't have those 70%. So that's kind of how that goes. So my university was great with international business, medicine, law. They were great in top ranks nationwide. But they still gave me something else. People who work at Google, Microsoft were always like around me. I could talk to them. So,
like speaking of Microsoft and Google, why I wonder you would not stay in the US and intern and eventually land a job at one of those Silicon Valley companies?
I was
Like why come back home? Well, is that homesickness?
no. It's no. I won't lie to you. I was applying. I was applying, but by the time I graduated, the times got a lot drastic and worse, with all the layoffs.
Yeah.
You know how up to this day, with all the crisis after pandemic, because during pandemic, if you noticed and if you just been aware, those like insane amounts of investing, and those companies were hiring donkeys. I'm sorry to say that. So what that means, not stupid people, but those who were fresh out of university, didn't have any experience, but they were hiring everyone. But after that, they realized, hey, all that investment is not about to be justified, because this is not the time, and massive layoffs. So I got my graduation time around that part. I think I applied. It's not an exaggeration. I applied to around 2,000 positions. I got 2 offers, which I had to decline, and one of them were actually ready to sponsor me, but I declined because of the package they were offering and the fact that I had to relocate to South Carolina. I researched a lot. It was actually not a bad place. The city, the Greenville, I think, yeah. It's a really nice place, but I just weighed everything, all the factors aside. And even if I got the job, the plan was not to stay long term. I never had in my plans to stay long term, because, so back to what you assumed, family was still a factor. I had to come back. So I never thought about green card, doing some extra stuff, documents, getting a like fake marriage, that kind of stuff to get permanent citizenship. So so why that was difficult, because I was an international student. I apply, the recruiter calls me, they reach out to me, hey, are you a green card holder or a citizen? I'm like, no, but I do have a international student permit to work up to 3 years. So it's fine, don't worry about it. It's like, okay, we'll reach back to you, or we'll reach out later, in a week, and they never do. So as time went by, I'm like, I should probably conceal the fact that I'm an international student and just tell them that I have a green card. So later on, what I started doing is like, yeah, I'm in process of getting a green card. So as in, like, I filed my documents, I'm changing my status to green card holder. Even that didn't help.
Probably they knew you were pulling one on them. They probably
Maybe I can't tell for sure, but
Yeah.
times were tough. So we had a lot of Uzbek guys. If you go to Silicon Valley, there are a lot of great Uzbek guys. Just like I mentioned, they went for boot camps and graduated, boosted their resume, and started applying. And I have one, friend of mine who just, before I started my this whole process, he applied for Bank of America and got an offer for $170,000 a year. It's a crazy. So I was like, and I started applying like, "Ooh, this is happening, so it's possible. Let me do it." But yeah, that's how it turned out. I mean, I eventually did get a job, so which I'm working right now. I work remotely for an American company. I really enjoy it. It's a start, not a well, 3-year-old business. They're growing, and you see a lot of initial steps in a company that's growing. So it's good. So everything was for a good reason.
So, like, what exactly does your job entail? Is it like, does it have to do with coding,
Yeah.
project management?
Yeah, not project management. It's strictly coding, coding every day. So the official name of the title, the position is like full stack developer, senior developer. So I look after both front end and back end, and it's fun. I love it. Just like I said, because they're small, you're not like assigned a small task to adjust the color of one element. No, you're given real tasks, real projects that take time, that take you sometimes sleepless nights. Especially given that I'm also working out with my hub as well, so it's a good combination.
Yeah. Sounds like you really keep busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's see.
Your your if I was to get into programming right now, you said I should start with HTML, right?
Yeah.
I'd have to start with HTML, right? That's how you say it. And the other language would be
CSS.
CSS. Got it, right. So what would you say is the best coding language to learn, aside from these two?
So
like
technically, HTML and CSS are not languages. So they are basics, like basic models. It's like helper languages, if you will. HTML would stand for hypertext markup language. Like, it's a markup language. It just gives you semantics to your website. But the actual language that you would end up using for front-end development would be JavaScript. So that's the language for that field. And a language to start with. I think a lot of people would say Python. You probably heard about it. It's very easy. It's very human readable. Right? You read the code and you can, visualize what it means, what's happening there, right? So in that way, if you want to introduce yourself to tech and without prior knowledge, go for Python. So HTML and CSS is also that kind of a thing, but again, they're not languages. That's why most of the times when someone approaches to me and they say, "I want to learn IT," and I start asking them a bunch of questions, like, why? So what's the plan? Like, what do you know? What kind of experience do you have up to this point? And if they don't have any experience, I say, yeah, we're starting with front end, because from day one, you'll go ahead and write a couple lines of code and you see the result on your screen. So it's very visual. For 3 months, a very visual. So, but when we get to JavaScript, the actual programming language, then you start feeling, that now it's getting serious. Now it's not, instant results. It's a lot of debugging. It's a lot of concept comprehension. So the answer would be Python if you're a starter. But I started with Java, so it's a bit different from JavaScript in wording, but it's very, very different from if you take technically, because there are levels to languages, right? So there are lower level languages and higher level. So the higher it is, the easier it is to code in it, easier it is to understand it. So that's Python. So if you start Python, but you eventually, and you eventually go with something more complicated because it gives you more control over your program, that would be more challenging. But if you start with something complex, it's a very different approach. But after that, anything else would be just like, cracking nuts. In a week, you take up any language. So it's all about core. Like what language? It's always a question. I should probably make a short video about it once we get more and more active on Instagram as well. What language is up to you, but whatever you choose, you just go and get hard on it and just go deep until you fully understand what's happening under the hood, behind the scenes. But they don't care about what language you know, because for example, for my job, when I applied for backend, they were asking Python, but with backend, my prior expertise was with JavaScript, and I still did apply. And that's how it works. You never find a precise match because there are not million, but hundreds of technologies and frameworks that you can use to build a program, to build a website. And it's impossible and very stupid if you go ahead and study all of them, learn all of them. It's very stupid. No. And it's impossible to know them all in depth. No. You just learn one in depth, understand the core. And that means once you know one, you can get a hang of any other option easily. So that's what happened even in my case.
Right. Well, speaking of coding languages, where does ChatGPT fit in all this? Like now that there's ChatGPT and you can generate any code, any sort of literally any source code for your website or your application, will there still be need for software engineers? Will there still need for computer science majors?
Okay.
Like, because I've read some headlines and heard rumors that now that there is ChatGPT and all these AI coding tools, there's not going to be much need for programmers, coders. So, what's your take on that?
It's a very popular question. So let me ask you this question: how often do you use ChatGPT?
Every day.
For what purposes?
For everything. Like sometimes at night, I'm just asking ChatGPT, can I mix my protein powder with my cottage cheese? Like, would I still get the same results as like getting it in a shaker?
Okay.
Right. Or like I wake up in the morning, so I've been having lime with water like for 4 days straight. It's not gonna be hard on my stomach. Like whatever advice I need or any decision I want to make, and I really want to make sure, be confident, I just look it up not online anymore. I used to do that on Google, but not ChatGPT. I do just about everything on ChatGPT for two reasons. One is it gives me tailored response. It has access to all my previous questions, all my previous responses, and it knows me like the back of its hand. Right? But Google doesn't really know me that well, right?
Yeah.
So it gives me a very tailored response, and that's what I really appreciate about it. And the other thing is with ChatGPT, it does have a level of consciousness that really, really gives you that edge in whatever decision you're making. So when you're when you're looking something up on Google, like you see, it's just all unfiltered raw information. But with ChatGPT, it filters that information for you and gives you some suggestions on top. It's like a cherry on top.
Okay.
So it's like having a real smart buddy helping you out with all the important decisions in life.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I can understand with something more precise, like just like with your diet, right? Okay, let's put it this way. How comfortable do you feel with the filtering, just like you said it does for you? Like how confident are you with truthiness of that?
If I suspect it's trying to, it's biased or it's not being entirely truthful, which what the ChatGPT disclaimer says is it does say check important info
Yeah.
right under the search bar.
Yeah.
I just start pushing it with questions. Why are you saying that? Where did you get that? What's your source? Right? Is it the latest data? Is it the latest information?
Good.
So what do you think about this perspective? It does make sometimes mistakes, and I've heard that if you switch to the premium version, there's a lower likelihood of mistakes. Like it does not make mistakes as much as the basic plan. But so far, haven't really ran into like big issues with the model I'm using.
Okay. If you haven't tried this, so ChatGPT is always like a supportive girlfriend, right? It's like, so in my case, I use ChatGPT every day for my work as well. So we'll come back to your initial questions afterwards. I'm like, yeah, so give me the solution or an approach for this. And he does outline like, hey, do you think that this could be done at a very totally different way? I think that would be more efficient and optimal. It's like, oh yeah, that's the one we should actually pursue and outlines a second option. And after that, I say again, well, I changed my mind. I think this is not as efficient as I want. Let's do it the third way, and it 1000% will, with no hesitation, support you with your third option. So it's good that you're checking your sources. I think that's a very intelligent way to use ChatGPT. I would never say not to use it. Use it because it's a great like a friend, a helper friend. But well, again, how often would you use it for your job?
Every day.
Okay, so
Every day. Like I mean, in my line of work, which is teaching language, English, right? I need it for proofreading students' work. Read it. I use it for generating cue cards. You know, there's part 2, part 3, different parts of the interview. I use it for, and sometimes I for job, specifically for my job. We also use ChatGPT in the editing process. Here's a cool trick we have for our shorts.
okay,
We copy paste the short script on ChatGPT and ask it to find the best matching tune for it.
huh?
Yeah. And then it gives you a bunch of different options.
Damn.
Right. It's a lot better than you go sort of looking through the library of tunes and tracks. And that's cool. That's genius, right? Mr. Abdul Malik. Yeah. If you go and watch our shorts, it's everything is in synchrony. The music, the caption, and we would not have been able to do it ourselves as effectively as ChatGPT does.
Good.
Yeah.
I think you're using it for a proper purpose. It makes you, if it's making you more efficient and productive, it's good. But if you're using it to replace you, no, because it will not replace you. It won't replace you as a teacher. I'm 100% sure of that. And that would be answer for tech as well. Maybe in some distant future, or just put it in the future, some future, whatever future, it will. Right now, and it's not looking likely in near future, it won't replace.
I doubt, though. Really, really, I beg to differ here with you. I have outsourced about 60% of my responsibilities with ChatGPT. Checking essays, generating speaking answers, right? And then the giving students feedback and helping them follow up on that feedback. About like 60% of my job can be done with the help of ChatGPT.
But that's
It's probably because of the fact that there's a lot of repetition in my line of work.
okay.
But if you were to go for more creative jobs, you would not obviously be able to outsource that much of work with ChatGPT for sure.
True. So, but your example is not, arguing for the fact that it will replace. So even if you're delegating 90% of your job, but what's making you who you are, like an expert at your field, is that 10%. If it's even 10% or 1%, because so that means if I just teach my students how to use ChatGPT, will they get what they want? No. Will they learn tech IT? No.
But you see, your input as a person is going dangerously low. It's dangerously low to the point like at this point I don't feel my presence in the classroom anymore as much as I used to. I remember the pre ChatGPT era, and then now post ChatGPT or the ChatGPT era that we're in right now, and my presence in the classroom is a lot less.
Physical presence.
I'm physically present, but my input, I feel like it's not as much as it should be, and it's largely replaceable. You can literally set up a ChatGPT voice chat and have students talk to it, and it does pretty much all the work. So if you want feedback on your essay, if you would want ChatGPT to ask you questions and give you vocabulary suggestions or correct your pronunciation, vocabulary mistakes, grammar mistakes, it does just about that. I think it really has to do with the complexity of the job you're doing, and language learning is not that complex. Probably as complex as writing codes or building software from scratch. So,
Well, yeah.
but I definitely see ChatGPT taking over some professions. It might not happen right away. But it's already. I feel like it's already happened in the IELTS evaluation process. Like they haven't really acknowledged it. They haven't really confirmed it. But my guess is they're using ChatGPT to check students' work, essays. Because like, why would you get your results so instantly? If you take the computer IELTS, your results are out the next day.
True.
It would take 13 days to get your results. Even before ChatGPT with CD IELTS, you'd have to wait at least 5 days. But now you're getting your results the next day. You appeal your results, you get your appeal results in 2 hours, which is insane. Which is insane. How can you process that request that fast? Unless you're using.
Yeah, it's crazy fast, and we're getting used to this fast
ChatGPT.
consumption. But you're right. Yeah, I don't think everything stays the same, but it doesn't. Even if it does replace some jobs or parts of some jobs, it creates a lot more. So a good example, maybe not exactly perfect example, when what was that? Yeah, like calculator didn't replace mathematicians, right? Something like that. It's very small, but I think it scales pretty well. That example would scale pretty well, because and now let me stop being theoretical and let me bring you examples. I do code with ChatGPT, and actually ChatGPT is not the best model for coding.
Do you use the basic version or the premium?
Premium.
Okay.
GPT itself, so ChatGPT is an interface for the model that is GPT, right? I don't remember the index or the numbering of their latest model, but GPT version, like models are not the best at coding. It's according to the benchmarks as well, and also according to, like, based on my experience, I use Claude AI for technical purposes. I like ChatGPT for other things. It's still very useful, and I use premium versions of both to see like their full potential. So you see, and the more I prompt them, the more nonsense they're giving back to me. So if you don't know what you're, so this is, they're great. We need them? Do we need those models? Like, ChatGPT and AI? We do 100%. So will they help us with saving costs in my company? Yes. Now I will not hire 2 juniors and 2 seniors. Now I'm hiring 2 seniors, and I'm giving them a premium subscription of ChatGPT or whatever other AI model. So in that sense, yes. So efficiency, but no, replacing, no, because if it's giving some nonsense, it's you who should notice, right? Okay, it's giving you a full app code. You just copy paste and put whatever IDE you put, like text editor. You can ask all those details. You can prompt all those details, and you'll get instructions. But after a day or two of your app running, you get some bug, you get some complaint. How do you fix? Do you prompt again? You do, but will that fix be effective enough? No, not, at least not yet. And the way, looking back at its trajectory, it's not happening soon. Probably it will happen eventually. It will definitely get better, a lot better eventually. But will it get to the point that you're replaced? Let's see. Let's put it that way. Even if it does, there'll be a lot more jobs on the other side. Who's supporting, who's maintaining all those models? Again, software developers, like tech people. So I like that argument. You're not going to be fired by AI. It'll be not because of AI. You'll be fired because there are other people who know how to use AI properly. So you're a better teacher if you're using or business owner if you're using some AI, a proper AI, not just for a check, but actually to make it productive. I use ChatGPT every day, like AI every day, for my job, for my work, for my hub, to prepare for classes, all the slides, all the homework, everything I do. But I strictly, I strictly don't let my students use it. Well, I ask them. I can never, stop them physically. But why? It's not good with learning. Well, because we need instant satisfaction, right? If my code is not running, it's buggy, and I'm not able to solve it for last 5 minutes, I want a solution. I just send that code to ChatGPT. I get the solution. It's working. But that's not how you get. That's not how you get. That's not how you become a great computer scientist. A month ago, I spent 3 days on one bug, and it made me a lot better eventually. That's how you learn. Any computer scientist, like a proper with good experience, go and ask. You should be able to live in a chaos. That means you should be comfortable with your bugs. That's your job, to fix the bug, right? So that's how you get better. That's how next time, hey, coding, it's not, initially coding is about solving, but later on it becomes, everyone can solve it, but now it's about how to solve it. My company spared me $500 to build this model, but the algorithm that I built would require me to invest like 5,000. Hey, there's a different guy who can do it with $500 spent on, only $500 spent on it. So that's how you become a great expert at your tech job, at least.
Yeah. But as much as I agree with what you're saying, to an extent, though, you should allow your students to incorporate ChatGPT into their learning. We've done that. We let our students use ChatGPT to revise their answers, to eliminate grammar mistakes and vocabulary, so they pick better words, better phrases. And sometimes we get backlash from parents for letting our students use ChatGPT. And like, hey, aren't you supposed to be doing that yourself? Or aren't our kids supposed to be spotting those mistakes themselves? But then I try to help them look at the bigger picture of things. So if you let your kid do that, they can do that, but it's probably going to take them a few hours, and they're probably going to learn a thing or two along the way. But when you put it next to the volume of work they're supposed to be doing by their deadline, there's the deadline to take IELTS, say it's October, say it's December, they're never going to meet that deadline, honestly. So learning English grammar itself takes about a year. But when students come to you, they have only a year to get IELTS from zero. And that grammar should be included in that. And they want to get 7 in writing within a year from scratch, which I think is realistic target now that there is ChatGPT. If you remove ChatGPT, you need at least 2 years to get to that level, to get a decent 7 in writing, right? Because with ChatGPT, they're getting a lot of exposure to better language, to better context. And my thinking is like eventually, even if they're what we call like abusing this thing by misusing it or overusing it, because of that exposure, they get a better sense and understanding of language. So I guess that same thing can be said of coding, where yes, you can use ChatGPT to spot those bugs, to fix your bugs, and if you do that 1,000 times, you'll eventually see a pattern, and you actually learn how to spot those bugs yourself because you've had so much experience using ChatGPT. So, like you said, I'm a teacher, and there are other teachers, and I'm a better teacher because I'm using ChatGPT, because this is such a powerful tool. We cannot beat it, so we should join it. And that's my thinking here. If you can't beat it, join it. Yeah. But while being aware of the risks.
Yes.
Right? And to actually counter those risks, we do incorporate a little bit of awareness, mindfulness questions, where we ask students, okay, why does it say this here? Or how would you have done this differently? Like every now and then ask those questions to make sure they're not mindlessly learning all that stuff.
True.
But we cannot resist this technology, because I know kids out there abroad, China, US, Europe, all over the world, using ChatGPT in the classroom, outside the classroom, to do their research, to do their homework. Those kids gonna get a head start in this thing. And as long as we are stuck in our mindset of this is scary, this is gonna make us lazy, we're gonna be left behind, and that's my biggest worry. Yeah,
True.
because like everyone is using this cheat code, why shouldn't we not be?
No, I agree. You don't resist it. So let's imagine this. You come to my classes. I would let you use ChatGPT or any AI model. Why? Because you're a mature person. You know your goals. You know what you're trying to achieve from this course, whatever. Because I'm confident that when you send your buggy code, your prompt would be, detect my bug. Where's my bug? How can I solve it? What are the ways to solve it? So I'm confident of that. So I'll let you do it. But a lot of kids, at least younger ones, what do? They paste the code, fix my code. That's their prompt. So how do you think, how helpful it is to their, and I'm not hiding anything. I tell them that I use ChatGPT every day. I reveal all the cards. But because I can notice in a second if they did their homework with AI, my first thing is, can you explain to me what's happening in this part of your code? They're silent, they're mute, and I tell them, hey, I know you're using ChatGPT. It's okay. Getting help is okay. It's fine. I'm not opposed to that. But the way you're using is incorrect. If you're using it with this prompts, with this goal, go for it. But I know that you will not, because because tech is totally new, like context for you. Even if you wanted to right now, you wouldn't have that skillful questions prompts. So please withhold for a second. I'll let you know. Today we're celebrating. Let's get a cake. Today's the day we start using ChatGPT. But for now, please, while we're at the basics, while we're at the core, let's stay with me. I'm there. I'm here. Text me anytime that you want. We'll fix the bug, but we'll fix the bug in a coherent, practical way. Withhold. I show them the examples, and I have some more, grown-up adults. They come to me and they said, "Hey, I tried with this. I tried with that. I don't mind. Like, Usually they approach me on the side. But I'm concerned because it numbs you. Even with my experience, it's not crazy big, huge, but I still have some of it. I catch myself at that. True. You keep using ChatGPT like AI and eventually find a pattern. Hey, oh, this is where I'm failing. Good. But even me, sometimes because of the constraint of time, due to two jobs I have deadlines out of nowhere for my remote work. What I do is copy a bunch of code, send to AI, like, yeah, find the spots, just fix it, so that I just paste it back. It does happen, and I did it a couple of times. And what happened? Sorry to interrupt. During our stand-ups, like meetings, it's like, hey, what's your update? What happened? What's the bug? What happened? Like, what was the solution? I'm like, oof. Of course, when you're able to communicate, you get out of that situation. That it's not a problem. But it was inside of me, that inside battle that was happening. Oof, I'm not being truthful to myself. So knowing those angles and examples, that's my approach. So initially, I tell them, hey, it's not going to take long. Hey, it's not going to take long. Just take a second. So
Yeah, I see. Maybe I'm not just aware of how harmful it is to use to use AI tools in coding as a learner, but to my mind, using ChatGPT in language learning should be the standard.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yep.
You're the
Yeah.
ones.
Maybe it's just the fact that these are two totally different ball games, coding and language learning. Although there's an overlap
Yeah.
in some ways, I'd still I still find myself to be a huge proponent of using AI tools in learning, language learning. Right? It's with coding, it's actually something you can do all alone, right? Sitting home, right? But language learning needs environment. And for those kids who don't have language buddies or that language learning environment at home, ChatGPT provides that. So
Okay.
I think for language learning, it should be introduced with with some level of supervision and moderation.
Okay.
But I think you can say the same thing in coding as well. As long as like there is healthy amount of moderation and supervision, it's a great help. But I honestly don't know what I'm talking about. I'm not an IT guy. You're the IT expert, so
No, I like the fact that you're still keeping that factor about having some supervision and moderation. As long as it's there,
yeah,
go for it.
yeah.
Go for it.
I see. It's the it's like the smartphones argument. Should kids have
Yes.
smartphones?
Tell me, what age are you giving your kid a
I mean,
smartphone?
I'm handing them a smartphone, but I'm not letting them use social media.
Okay.
Right there. They're going to have a smartphone though. They're
Okay.
going to need so I can check in on them. They're going to need one so they can get their assignments online. They can do their research, but not have an Instagram page, not have a YouTube page until they come of age, like they're 17, 18, I guess. Right.
Well, yeah, my take on smartphones has changed over time. I was against it totally. Like, till 18, you're not having one at all. But it's changed, it's evolving, and let's see what happens in reality. But that's true. You cannot, keep your kid a caveman when they're living among those who have, screens bigger than their heads.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a good comparison.
So now that we're talking about handing our kids smartphones, we might as well talk about a regiment, a program for raising the next Elon Musk. If you had a boy, if you had a child, do you have kids?
No.
Okay, so when you have your kids,
Uh-huh.
your own kids,
Okay.
and you would want them to be the next Elon Musk or to be the next Mark, right? How would you? What sort of program? What sort of regiment would you get them on? What would they learn? What languages would they learn? Like not coding languages, but languages in general, world languages, and what coding languages would they learn, and what sorts of practice would they do? Where would they go to school? So, what's the blueprint for raising the next Elon Musk as an IT parent?
Wow, this is very. It's kind of a dilemma. Before, if I start, so the more the more you're concentrated on creating a program, the lower is the likeness of your kid becoming as like extra outstanding. Yes, you'll get a decent, with a good job, like Asian parenting, right? But go to Steve Jobs, go to Elon Musk. They were rebellious in their household and to their parents, right? Like Elon Musk was offered, Steve Jobs was offered a full ride scholarship to Stanford, and his parents were like, "Hey, you should go." Like, no, and he went, I think, to some Gothic themed college, Reed College, I think. See, it's I don't think you can design a program for a kid, but of course you'll still parent. So the languages, Uzbek should be there, a decent Uzbek, I think. Still having a good command of your own native language should be there. It's not like, hey, everyone should speak in Uzbek. No, but it should be there. It's your base. That's your core. Keep it. We need Russian. We need English, and so that's kind of how they say kids are like sponges in their childhood, right? So what as when while I have time with them being sponges, I'll just just sponge them in with English, Russian, and Uzbek. After that, it's up to them. So languages, and what else was in the question?
What programming languages are they going to learn? Are they actually going to grow up to be? Are you going to nudge them in the direction of computer science, or are you going to let them become a soccer player or the next social media influencer? If your child comes up to you and says, "Dad, I want to be a food vlogger," what's going to be your reaction?
I'll try to be to have as healthy,
Conversation.
conversation reaction. Well, it's when you're a kid, of course, you think, why wouldn't they let me to be whoever I want? That's my passion, and so forth. But getting more and more mature, at least everyone's parents is different, but I understand my parents, my dad, a lot more. Of course, he wants a stability for me. Of course, he went through a bunch of stuff. Of course, he risked. Of course, he risked and tried. He did that too. There were times, I promise you that any parent were trying to follow their dreams, like passion. But because for some of them, maybe sometimes for most of them, it didn't work out as they planned, and they went through that already, and they know at least, of course, generations change. Every generation is different, but they know how it goes. So they try to make it to protect you from that. So by that, what I'm trying to say, of course, I'll give basics, as in I'll nudge them. I'll keep nudging them to whatever direction I think is rational, I think is productive and beneficial. But once they start having some initiatives, I'm not planning to restrict their initiatives. I'll try to be smart as I can, but it's all talk. So let's see until I actually have one. But that's my plan. It's hard to be a parent. So
You would be fine if they didn't want to go into sciences, if they didn't want to become a doctor, if they didn't want to become an engineer.
I'll do this. Well, it depends on their age. If they're 25 and they say that, like, he's a grown-up kid, like, what, am I going to fight him? No. In their young ages, I'll probably say, hey, you want to do soccer? Go attend soccer, but you're not giving up on sciences. No. So show me that you can do something at soccer, and maybe I'll think about you, giving up on other sciences. So something like that. But sports should be there, but though I probably not want a soccer for them, but I attended jiu-jitsu a lot, and I think that wrestling some kind of wrestling sports, fighting sports should be there in their childhood. So that would be another must for me, for a guy, for a son. So
So, what sciences would you want them to pursue?
math, of course. Um,
Is coding, robotics going to be part of it?
yeah, of course. It's probably, it wouldn't be. I don't think integrating computer science in his life would be planned. Right? It would be natural because I'm already at it. So I'm not planning necessarily, but I'm sure it will still be there. So if he's interested, let's do it. Well, it's I think it's very wrong. That's what the West is doing. Kid is like 4 years old, and they're like, "Hey, do you feel like a girl or a boy? Come on, shut up! Like it's a boy. Like, do you know what I'm trying to say? This whole gender debate.
Yeah, yeah. But how does that relate to our
So it's
grown?
that I think that relates directly. So can you like you can ask a kid if they want an orange and apple, yeah, but you cannot ask them, hey, do you want to be an engineer or food blogger when they're 5? That's a decision that would entail a lot serious consequences, like be it positive, negative, I don't know, but consequences are a lot more, a lot heavier to bear. So the kid cannot think rationally and comprehensively to make those kind of decisions. So asking them, because like the generations are getting different and different, right? And you can see more like softer and softer parents, right? Open parents, listening parents. You should listen to your kid. That's what I think. Hey, I'm 26. I don't have much experience, but that's my take from a side. So you do listen to your kid, but you can do it in a very smart way. Like, you've lived 25, 30 years, not for nothing. You know some stuff. Yes, don't restrict their initiative. Don't shut them up right away. Let them let them make mistakes, but still behind the scenes, keep them intact, keep them in their direction until they came of the age where you can now gradually let them make their own decisions. So
So you would anyway want to see them go down the path of science, right? That that's
well, if you ask me a question where is it science or food blogging, yeah, science should be there. But like if they're more into humanities, that should be fine.
yeah, right. So like you're not really strict on them becoming anything other than scientist though, right? Like a programmer, coder, or engineer.
Um, no, well, no, I don't expect them to be all science, like IT guys. It should. Look, I'd expect them to be in the tested long run areas fields. Like it could be medicine. Why not? Like my dad initially wanted me to be an ambassador, so all the way up to I don't know 18, no 15. I thought I'm planning to be. So that's how University of World Economy and Diplomacy went through, as in it went on as a plan initially. That makes sense. So
Right. So you would want your kids to have science as their as as the foundation, but if they later on want to become something else, you would support them. You would let them pursue what they find meaningful when they come of age, when they are rational enough to make
yes,
those big choices in life.
I think so. I like to think so.
Yeah.
I like to think so.
Yeah. Yeah, right. We're sitting here talking about all these things about how what we want for our kids and what we would want to see them do. But life has its way of
True.
letting things happen, and life has its own way of. You just can't you set out to do something, but then life has different plans for you. I guess that's what they say. Yeah. But my original question was though, if someone was to raise the next Elon Musk, what kind of things would they have to have, like as the basics, as the essentials for their kid to grow up to be engineer minded? They'd obviously have to go into sciences, hardcore math, coding. From what age would they have to start learning math? From what age would they have to learn to start learning coding? Age
Okay.
of 4 or 5.
As early as possible. Like you have, kindergartens where they have already some form of science teaching or some, subjects being taught in a, kids way, in easy, friendly ways. Well, you notice how. So for Elon Musk, so if you want me to mention hard skills, yeah, engineering. So that means physics, mathematics. Yeah, those are. So I had a mentor in my university. He worked at the startup incubator in our university. What he said, you can learn business administration, finance, economics on your own. What you go to school for is something exact. Physics, go for it. Math, go for it. So because those sciences are the core of everything happening around everything. So I like to think there's a big, huge truth in there. Yeah, whatever you do is like chemistry, physics, math around. So, but you're asking me this question. But on hard skills, yes, that's Elon. That's what Elon Musk has. But what made him Elon Musk is not that those science skills he has. Do you think? Not at all. Like look at the way he behaves. Like he has no filters. Like he can say one thing today and say it's totally opposite thing tomorrow, and he's still accepted because he's like he's true to himself. He knows how to communicate. Do you know about the story how he ran Twitter when he acquired it? He fired like 80% of it. It's like, yeah, this model is BS. Like I realized he is in his interview to Tucker Carlson. He's like, I realized this company can be run with 20% of people, and because that's what I said. You see, when you get hired in a bigger company, usually your work includes being like 80% of the time being in the meetings. Hey, this is the plan. That's the plan. That's the plan. That's the plan. Like 20% of adjusting a small bug. You understand? So that's why people leave Google, like companies like Google and Apple. Like those who leave for what? Because they're lacking initiative. They're lacking creativity. It's all mundane. At least that's what I hear. I mean, if you're promoted to a project manager of some newer project, like let's say Google. I mean, they already did it. Like a Gemini, right? Their AI model. Hey, you're going to be the one who's going to be running, like, looking after this project. Oof, yeah, that's a different thing. But most of the guys, you see, you're assigned a task, just do it every day, day and after day. That's it. So, what made Elon Musk is something else. I can't tell. It's like taking risks. It's just being true to yourself, being sleepless. I believe him when he says that he sleeps like 5-6 hours a day, and he manages to run like what SpaceX, Neuralink, Tesla, and for some period he was in the head of department, so efficiency department under Trump. Doge, yeah, Department of Government Efficiency. It's not hard skills. It's dedication. It's commitment. Like it's crazy.
Right. So it's a little. It's sort of an absurd thing to ask. How do you become the next Elon Musk? Is you should strive to be the next you, not
True.
the next guy, but just the next. Try being yourself.
Yeah, everyone talks about their success story after they've achieved it. It's of course easy to do that. And the way you do it, the finest response. There is no magic to success. You just do it from day to day to another every day. That's it. I like how Andrew Tate said, why consistency works, because you do it 365 days, like all year round, right? It's because you're doing every day. It's impossible to miss those rarest opportunities that arise out of nowhere, because you showed up at your work on Sunday, you met some startup investor, and now boom, you have that opportunity. It's about that. You see, it's not magic. Something like that.
Yeah, right, right. So it's not this. So it comes down to simple things like consistency and
Yeah,
the
I think
discipline,
so.
not necessarily what sort of programming language you learn or what kind of regiment you follow, protocol you follow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think so.
it's about getting the basics right. Got it. Right. As someone who follows the latest trends in technology and IT, what do you think is the next big thing? Is it quantum computers, robotics, or AI, or the convergence of all these three things? Right.
So
So what's hot right now in the world of information technologies?
yeah, I can tell you what's hot, but
Yeah.
I'll have a hard time telling you what's the next hot thing.
Uh-huh.
The hot areas are like AI. So those are the areas to look for. Data related positions like data analytics, data engineer, and so forth. By AI, I mean not just being able to prompt AI, because if you go on Twitter or X now, every other person in tech has AI expert in his bio. The only thing they can do, well, it's actually becoming a position as well.
Yeah.
I'm not against that. Is prompting those models chats properly. It's also a skill.
Yeah, it is. It indeed is. I actually remember hearing the CEO of NVIDIA, I don't remember his name, saying the next programming language is going to be English. I remember him saying that. If you know English, you know how to program, you know how to code.
Yeah, that's why I don't like him. He's trying to sell his graphics cards.
Yeah.
I agree. There's a truth to what he said, 100%. But I think there's heavy marketing involved in his interviews and his speeches too. So
Yeah.
kind of be critical. I know you can. So, well, AI. So actual AI is building those models. That means working with data. If you like go and Google and or YouTube how models work, it's crazy, amazing, interesting thing. It's like if you just pause and think about it, like how this thing is understanding me, like how is it feeling how is it detecting my feelings, so forth. So next big thing that I'm kind of excited about is like AGI, so it's artificial general intelligence. So what that means is, the Turing test.
Not really.
Um, let me. Do you know the movie Ex Machina?
X.
Machina.
Not really. No.
No.
Is it the one starring Benedict Cumberbatch?
No, that one is the Imitation Game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's also a good one. So the Turing test is, I hope I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that should be Turing. So it's basically when you build a model. So in this movie, the tech guy builds a robot that looks like a human already. So that's basically an interface, but the head has built it and he wants to test it. He invites the guy to his house, and that guy interacts with that robot. So if you think, so if you fail to think that the person that you're communicating is a robot, so that means that robot passed the Turing test. That means that robot is authentic. So that's basically AGI. We're far from that. AGI means that ChatGPT still or any AI model is still far from generating its own thoughts, like realizing, hey, I can think on my own. It's not there yet. So that's the dangerous.
It already happened. I think you probably missed the news. A few weeks ago, I read news where a guy told ChatGPT or one of its models to shut down the system, but it declined. It declined, and Elon Musk made a tweet about it. He posted something about it, and he said, "This is alarming. This is scary."
Really?
So
I should
yeah,
check
yeah,
that out.
you should. So he commended the model to shut down the system, but the model declined.
Okay, the system that belonged to that user?
Yeah. It was the model was creating a system, and then human ordered it to shut it down because it suspected danger because it was worried something had happened, and then the model declined the shutdown order.
Okay,
Yeah,
interesting.
it declined. It declined human command.
I'm pretty sure there should be broader context to that, but I will check it out.
Yeah, you should. And I mean, I don't know how serious this thing is, but Elon Musk made a tweet about it saying that it's worrying.
Yeah, Elon Musk is a breaking news guy. He makes it all fireworks. But yeah, so that's dangerous too because we're not there yet. I'm pretty sure there are example scenarios where that happens in a small context and a small example, but it's still a long way to go. So that's I'm excited about that. It's I'd love to be one day a part of some project that's working towards that thing. But we should be careful. That's what I like about Elon Musk. He always, is about regulations because US does not have regulations, as in they're letting this field to develop, to progress. So that's why they're being okay about it. But regulation means like, do we have a policy when something happens, as in an AI is intervening into somebody's private life or privacy and all that, or something just like you said. So there are no regulations as of now, but yeah, I'm just observing this whole thing, and one day it should be here as well, working with AI, building models, because I think Bukhara is working with investors from Dubai. They're planning to open data centers here, so that means we'll have power to have servers and work on models and work with AI, etc. I'm not sure.
That sounds exciting.
Yeah, I've heard from multiple sources. They said that it's. I don't remember how they called the document where plans are outlined, and that that document goes to president directly, and he signs it.
Right, and now I don't know.
As opposed to government
draft is like initial drafts. You're talking about drafts.
No, as in
proposal.
Proposals that do not go to president directly, as in personally, but just the government itself, works it out, accomplishes, and so forth. And this one, they said that data center is signed directly by president. So I'm not I hope it's happening.
All right. I actually just realized you should not be as much really excited about this initiative, because I remember also watching a video on YouTube where journalists trying to show the harmful effects of having the data center in your locality and how it intoxicates contaminates water bodies nearby.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's like they use enormous amount of energy and water to cool down their systems, right? And that water is getting filtered locally. And a lot of toxins get released in waterways, which then get mixed up with your water, your tap water.
I never thought about that.
Yeah, there's risks to that, actually. We should not be as welcome to this change, honestly. Yeah.
It's a good thought. Okay.
Yeah, there's actually literally, you can look it up on YouTube. There's a video of someone visiting homes of people who live near the data center of Meta's AI, Meta. It's a Mark Zuckerberg's company, Meta's AI, and then they're pouring water from the tap, and it's poisoned. Clearly, you can see that it's not clear water. It's not clean water.
I see.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Well, I'm expecting they'll look like their location would be somewhere far in the desert, so.
But it's probably going to be somewhere near water bodies, right? Because they're going to need water for their facility, for tap water, and to cool down their systems. And what kind of cooling system are they going to use? So are they going to use the water-based cooling system, or is it going to be some different technology? There's that as well.
I hope they're careful about that.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
I mean, like, why? Like, if you think about why would Dubai want to set up data centers in Bukhara when they got so much unused land in their own country?
Yeah,
Right.
that's a good point. Well, I don't. Well, Uzbekistan is always a strategic location, right? It has access. So to that specific part of the question, why a lot of people are coming to Uzbekistan, like investors, because it gives access to entire Central Asia. Because everyone, like, even if you probably notice, we're having more and more concerts of pop stars.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because they realized, hey, Central Asia has people, it has money, like people who are interested, they can pay. So it's something like that. Central Asia is being noticed more and more by any field. We're having, I know it's quality wise, it's not up there yet. Take any field, any area, but that's how you start. We have Indian guys coming and studying medicine. I know, again, quality is not the thing to present, but we're being seen every way possible.
Yeah.
Football.
Yeah. Right. Right. Finally going to the World Cup.
Yeah.
Right. 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 No, I'm just worried we're not. You see, like when you put yourself out there, there's a certain amount of risk. Your risk. Obviously, you should be comfortable taking risks, but I hope there is someone who's imposing some regulations and rules to make sure these risks are away or in some way they're minimized. So I hope someone is doing their research
I hope so too. Yeah.
on data centers, and I've heard they set up solar panels in the desert in Bukhara. Now we're generating energy, solar energy, and probably going to be selling it to Europe. It's a great idea. I'm all for it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I hope they got the other side of the coin in mind. So possible implications for the environment and the people living nearby. So we can't be all about like making money. I've heard we owe the World Bank a lot of money. I've heard we owe other countries a lot of money, but
Yeah.
and you can't just be open all the gates and ask people to come in and start leveraging all the opportunities here. It's like we got to think about the future as well, our kids and the world we're going to be living behind for them.
True. I mean,
But anyway, it's
you're being a good citizen to be worried, at least.
yeah. Worried, concerned citizen, just a concerned citizen. Hope it won't get me in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so we're about to wrap up this podcast, and usually before we end the shoot, there are three questions I usually ask the guests,
Okay.
and I hope to ask of you those questions as well. So, this part of the podcast we talk a little philosophy. And so it was all technical stuff up until this point. Now we are going to finish things off on a philosophical note. How would you describe your personal philosophy? What is something that would describe your outlook on life at this point in life? So what is your MO? Is that what they call it? Mode of operation. What gets you out of bed in the morning?
Well, you should have purpose in life. You cannot live from one day to another, which was the case actually in the US. I don't know if you felt that way too.
Trust me, I feel it. That's very and it's actually a good thing. I used to think it's a bad thing, like when you feel like you're drifting in space with no particular purpose. But I think it's a way of like the universe or God telling you to look for meaning. It's a way of the universe or God telling you to work towards your real purpose. It makes you wonder things like what am I even doing? Why is it happening? Why am I even in this country? So all those questions are actually good. I used to think that I was having just depression, episodes of depression and sadness, but those are actually really good moments. That when you're like take a step back and question things and reset your path. Yeah, I like those moments.
Yeah. Well, you won't be able to see the good until you saw, the bad. So
Yeah.
that's basically it. I don't regret my experience in the US, but I may realize you need a purpose. I guess the purpose is you always want something for yourself, but start building something around for others to be of help to others. So in my case, let me try to show here, specifically in Bukhara. I know once we're good with our home, we'll now worry about the entire country, but that is possible. It's here. We can do it one way or another, and be it IT, be it English, be it anything else, be it being an Elon Musk, it's possible. Let's just help out each other, and there's definitely a solution. So it's a small motto for now. I guess that keeps me running.
I love that. That's great. The world the world needs more of that. Our world needs more of that.
Yeah, I want money too, of course. I
Yeah.
need my business flourishing, but of course. But that's another side. That's the other side of it.
It's it's very altruistic what you're doing here. Is that you when you could have just gone to some European country, or you could right now be in Maldives sipping cocktail and doing a remote work and just getting paid online. You're coming here in not that developed city, small town, and trying to pioneer something. That takes that takes a certain level of selflessness. That takes a lot of sacrifices and being discipline and being able to say no to all the distractions and the better things you could have. It's like putting in the work to build a better future for people who will come after us. That's very heroic to me. I deeply resonate with what you're saying here, and I'm really glad that we have people like you on board.
And that's why I was very happy to see you doing something like this and here.
Yeah,
Like,
it's the
yeah, I'm sure you're doing great with the center with campuses, but so this shows me, okay, you have something bigger, and I'm very glad that it's happening here, not somewhere very comfy with Korzinka next to you in your neighborhood. In Tashkent, I know it's very tempting, and I'm not judging anyone who's there, but if God put us here, that let's embrace it and let's make it work here. So
yeah.
that's the philosophy.
It is. It is. Are you into scriptures? Do you sometimes read religious books or the stories? Have you heard of stories? It's like I'm asking that because I just remembered the story about Abraham. You heard the Abraham story. So God tells him to leave his country and set up a new home in the middle of a desert. And Abraham tells like, what am I gonna do? There's no food, there's no water. It's all dangerous out there. But then God asks him to trust him, and then Abraham goes to the middle of the desert and he starts an empire. He is the forefather of all the great prophets who've ever walked this planet. So, and I sort of feel like we are in the middle of nowhere right now, and it's pioneering this thing. Not that I'm comparing us to Abraham, but I'm just trying to
I get what
see the parallels here.
I get what you mean. Yeah,
Yeah,
I know the story. Yeah,
it's very inspiring when you think about it.
Just keep reminding yourself that when you're depressed, when you're tired, when you're exhausted.
I do. I mean, I do. That's how I keep going. Like, it's not easy to keep this mind to stay sane when you're doing all these things, when you're presented with all these choices, and like keep saying no to better options in pursuit of a long term, not long term gain, not just for yourself but for people around you.
Yeah.
And it's hard to resist all those temptations unless you have something bigger than yourself pushing you forward.
True. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
And
Agree with you on that.
that's, yeah, it's a it's also very unique in a way that makes you sort of feel makes you think that you are in a very unique position to be in, because you feel like you're blessed to have the to be in that position, to have to have been afforded all these opportunities that other people may not have, and that you happen to be at the center of all this action. And if you don't do something about it, you're it is all these favors are going to be taken away,
Yeah.
and be given to someone more deserving, be given to someone more worthy. And I sort of think about that sometimes too. So I work my ass off not to lose the favors, not to lose the blessings. So I'm like, we got to be doing something. There has to be something bigger, better on the other end of the tunnel. So we just keep pushing.
Yeah. Yeah. Because look, not everyone is blessed to have a space to think about something bigger than themselves.
Yeah.
Somebody's fighting for their lives out there, for food. They're not. It's a commodity. It's a luxury to be in depression and think about the purpose of life. It's a great luxury, right? When you're being bombed and whatever, you don't have you have to walk for water like a couple of kilometers. Your purpose is set is to survive. It's easy. Yeah, you don't have a problem of choosing your passion. You see? So you gotta justify your favors, just like you said.
What's one piece of advice you would give your younger self or all other young people watching this podcast right now, 15, 16-year-olds?
Myself. Well, I think about a couple of things that I could have done back in my college times. So take risks, because it took me. It took me 3, maybe 4 semesters to get used to this environment, and realizing what actually land of opportunities meant. So it was kind of, so I would say take risks earlier, have initiatives, just trust the process. It's never going to work out the way you planned. I think I'm coming closer and closer and closer to that. It just feels like I'll never come to that, but it's just a process. But back when I was young, I really, really, really lacked that thing. Be a bit rebellious. Don't care about what everyone. I was very, very shy, crazy shy person. So that would be advice for myself and for anyone out there.
Right.
Just based on my experience.
Right. But not like burn the home down kind of rebellious, obviously.
Well, if your parents have a couple of residences, then why not?
Yeah.
But yeah, I get the point.
Totally agree with that.
Yeah.
You got to be willing to take risks. In English, they have this saying, you can't make an omelet without breaking eggs. Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
They have that saying in English. You got to break some eggs. Go and break some eggs.
Yeah. Look, it's very cliche advice, right? Take risks. But why I say this to myself when I was young and here, because we're brought up differently. We're brought up to be modest, to be shy, not to talk about our, cool sides, right? Always be quiet. Maybe it's evolving better, like evolving now. But my generation's like that. Like, somebody is in a tough situation, right? They need job. Like, look, go out and talk to people directly. Go open the door. Go to talk to the secretary. Go knock on the office. Like, yeah, wait, no, I'm not doing that. It's weird confrontation. Like, nobody has ever done it. But okay, you do it then. So those kind of things is not common here. That's why I'm giving this advice. It's fine. It's fine. And because we're being more open now, your risks being taken have higher chance of being justified too. So do it. That's my advice.
Yeah. even if that fails, at least you're gonna have a story to tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what Alex Hormozy said.
Yeah.
No, not Alex Hormozy. That was Andrew Tate or his brother. I don't remember. This is one of those videos I watched on social media. It says, "Go and take risks. Even if you fail, you're gonna have a story to tell someone."
Yeah.
That was Alex Hormozy for sure. I just remember it.
Doesn't
So,
sound like Andrew Tate though. Doesn't sound like Tate's,
I mean, they say a lot of things along these
but
lines.
not in that literate, beautiful phrasing. He would probably put it up in a different words.
Oh no, actually, Andrew Tate I think is a lot more eloquent than a lot of those guys out there. He actually purposefully, I remember watching one of his videos. He purposefully learns a few uncommon expressions and phrases
Yeah.
off of vocabulary. So
Yeah.
when he speaks, like he says, my speech is immaculate.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
my defense is impenetrable. Like you cannot penetrate.
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree. What I meant is, so just let me repeat, right? Try, and if you fail, you'll have a story to tell that's like romantic, philosophical. But Andrew Tate is usually like straightforward, realistic,
Oh yeah,
practical in that way.
right.
Yeah.
He's more of a straight shooter.
Yeah.
Right, you're right. So, what's something you would tell your future self, assuming that he's watching you right now? Is that camera rolling? It's rolling, so that you can look at
Future self.
your future self is looking at you right now. If you're going to be going back and watching this podcast,
I hope you're thanking me. That's what yeah. Yeah, I hope I made it. Yeah, I hope you're thanking me. I hope you're thankful that we've for all the things we've failed, for all the things we've succeeded, and I hope we're having a lot more stories to tell.
yeah,
Yeah.
great. Mr. Jamsher, it was great having you on the podcast today. I can't thank you enough for coming on the show today and sharing all your personal stories, insights, and just it was a blast. I had a really good time, and
Thank you.
I hope to see you on the podcast more in the future.
Yeah.
We'd like to have a few more episodes
Why not? Of
down
course.
the road. So, do you have any final comments you want to make before
No.
we end?
Thanks for having me. This has been a great talk. Sometimes you just need to two guys gather up and talk about whatever. So it's been that thing today, and I'm very pleased to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. If you liked our content, don't forget to like, and subscribe, and leave your comments in the comment section below. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.